we go, making our way over to the new map in Tego, as it has been pretty spicy on circles, as Shipyard was a thing that happened last time. And we've also been getting a whole bunch of those kind of open rice paddy finishes, but I mean, I just am still loving to see the players play this map.
And we started off with what was a horrendous plane path, and now, well, the plane path might just be horrendous, but the plane itself is in pretty bad shape. They say it's a 10% chance, but we've seen it time and time and time again. The plane, my friends, is on fire, and that means the majority of players will have to jump out earlier than what they usually would.
Take a quick glance, though. It's at least very, very centered, right? So we don't have too much to be concerned with. Most of the teams can get to the locations that they want to. It does make it a bit complicated, as we might see a dust up for a vehicle here or there, but even that hasn't been too detrimental. Nobody wanting to make the overcommit even on a vehicle fight yet. Instead, it's just no, establish our points per game first, everything else comes later.
Actually, I've been rather impressed throughout the entire tournament with how little some of these teams have opted to properly hot drop. I feel like the last couple of years of global championships have proven to us, when you hot drop, you might just, you know, follow the tournament early on, and here it's just not been that case.
I don't understand. We have Sonics and 17 in the same lobby. Why aren't they fighting over the center compound as they always do, right?
Exactly. Well, I feel like they've learned. Them two finishing out in the top of the brackets in the past, I think, was a pretty clear call that, you know what, it's not really needed to go aggressive like that at all.
Meanwhile, we've got some, I don't even want to say hot drops, but just potential brewing weirdness between what's going on with 4 Angry Men as well as the Expendables. At least managing to get some type of loot before they move into it. Gingy's just going to be on the outskirts of this, with 17 not that far away.
Tangled up, definitely. Circle! Holy moly, that's the Southern Shift if I've seen one. Not something I was expecting off of that plane path, but definitely Tai Lu sat very centered down towards Sungam right now.
And everybody, whenever you're looking at the map, remember that red line marks where you can and can't play. So just roughly think about it as water. We're back into having another, what, 60%, 70% water circle?
Yeah, maybe got jealous of the Miramar circle in the previous one.
I guess
and they were
so.
like, we want that too, and well, here you go. That's exactly what you're going to get. Xiaopian, HSMMM, trying to force a fight here. 2v1 fight, preferably against 777 of Expendables. But as you can see, he does have teammates just across the road. So how fast does Tanvu and Dog Juice get to become a factor in what could become a 2v1 fight here?
This is a weird situation, because we do know the Expendables isn't afraid of fighting early. But given how southern this plane path is, neither one of these teams really want to dust up at this stage. They want to make sure that they're getting into position quite early inside of this one, as we saw whenever we looked at what was going on in Shipyard. Even if you do get to the circle and you get to the right spot, it's going to go problematic for you, as now 4 Angry Men under some harassing fire, but it looks like they should be able to regroup pretty clean for now.
I think that allowed for 777 to cross over as well. You can see him, he's left the compound most definitely. Delvin is trying to creep in as well. I think Xiao Lu is realizing this now. Oh, Iron Sights Mini, not optimal for ranged fights to be had. But 777 got out of the compound, but I'm not sure if the remaining 4 players are aware.
This is one of those situations where you want to try to make the game, you want to try to get the fight over as fast as possible, but you can't overextend into it. You can't push too fast, otherwise it will all just come apart. Because let's not forget, they know everybody from that northwestern island is going to be coming down here, and this is a pretty common pathing route. We do have Danawa that's already crossing the bridge just outside of Yongxian. They might be coming down here. And Expendables, they don't want to overcommit into this one, so you can see they're just having to kind of retreat as they can.
Crazy is trying to peek on over, but he's... I love the fact that Time was just baiting the attention there. They know they have players in better angles, and every single time Crazy tries to peek on over, Delvin is there, 777 is there, Doc Juice is there as well to apply pressure in return. And now Xiao Lu spotted in the open, and a double headshot connects from Doc Juice. The Orc reigns supreme as 4AM is off to a really tough start here in game number 3.
There is a lot to be said about Duck Juice, Tanvu, Delwin, but 777 managing to survive in these very peculiar situations time and time again has been a recipe for success. He often finds himself kind of the odd man out. He's not always necessarily winning, quote-unquote, the firefight and getting the kill, but he's staying alive, harassing, forcing people into defended positions, and the rest of Expendables just exploit it every single time.
Yep, it's not easy for 4AM right now. You can see the way they're positioned on the other side, but down towards the circle we go as very dead center. Na'Vi and FaZe, two of the big teams out of EMEA, take a fight toward another example. Barely gets over the rock before Corexia is shut down.
And this is a symptom of the circle, as now it's going to be FaZe having to contend in with this positioning that Na'Vi is trying to exploit. We've got a lot of our rotation starting to come come into play. At least this time around, people have a pretty good idea on how the pathing and the circle is going to lay, so that leads into a very centered position just kind of north of that school area.
Now, as we hop back up towards Expendables and 4AM, keep in mind that Danawa is hearing these shots and they're somewhat nearby, but there hasn't been knocks in a little while, so we're not sure exactly how much info do they have, what do they really want to go off of, but there is a good chance for them to third party should they want to here, especially considering how far from the circle we are. The double nade lined up, Doctors finds the knock again, and this is just 4AM being torn to pieces.
This is just clinically clean every step of the way. They are just dismantling every line of defense, any aggression that 4AM wanted to try to make. Now with just one member on, what do you even do? There's just a flood of people coming at you, so well exploited. And
this is what we've come to really, really love with Expendables. Their ability to just move together, always know where they have each other. At no point throughout this entire fight did they seem like they were in danger. Not the same thing can be said for Question Mark, though, as a Doozy is the first one to fall, as I believe Falcons must have been the ones that pulled up on Question Mark here.
Hometown Heroes lined up against Question Mark right now. A Doozy, the defender from the previous games, now already out. Dante trying to navigate the footsteps that are around him. Seeing if maybe he can get some more out of it. Silzen takes a face full lead, and he's going to go down now. That just means 2 members up for the Falcons having to contend with this.
Yeah, and the 2 of the big hitters from the Question Mark team trying to make something happen here. Now Perfectix and Twisted Minds trying to look in this direction too if it couldn't get any worse. Shots are being fired in from the other side. Bestadog is now realizing he gets the knock on one, but instantly traded by Perfectix. They are now fighting on multiple fronts.
I mean, Capitan have got to be careful as they're trying to defend this up. Dante, though, has got a risky position with this Lou, getting this back flank and everything that's going on, but Tulins as well. Question Mark now kind of pinched in one of the more awkward situations. They want to finish out what's going on with Falcons, but it's just Twisted Minds that's just coming and taking a stranglehold on this.
They do this so well. Their ability to just hurt people together. Let their bad angles play into your advantage. Just sit there, hold it. If they want to do anything, you're going to be in full control. Once they try and cross on over, you're going to take them out mid-transition. Emmeric's now realizing as well they need to get inside a building. They're starting to get, especially with the off angle and Lou up on the northern side, there's nowhere they can sit where they aren't in a kind of a feared position of being taken out by Twisted Minds players.
And this is a very strong position for this circle. Very centered. It's got good sight lines coming out of it. Looking at this, you would assume that it's not very easy to defend, but it's pretty easy to defend. It's just you can't have 3 teams on top of you when you're trying to do it, right?
Exactly. Again, I mean, Twisted Minds now kind of playing a 4v4 in terms of them being against both Question Mark and Falcons here. Both 2 teams have just set up saying, guys, we had this good thing going. We were in the middle of a fight. We were, just 4v4 straight up. Fair play, team action. Here you come ruining all of it. Could you please just back off so that we can continue our fight? But I don't think that's what Twisted Minds is all about.
I like the regroup coming out from Lou. We can see this with the eye in the sky that there's nobody else around, but he has to be careful because he has to assume that somebody's going to be coming from the north any given time, given the position inside this one. And right now there's kind of a whole bunch going on over into the northeast as all those teams are kind of rotating in over there, most notably the Expendables. But I like the fact that he realized, okay, I'm kind of revealed over here. If I stay here for too much longer, I keep taking these shots, a third party could potentially take me out.
Exactly. Constantly maneuvering around, constantly trying to get those off-angle positions in your favor. In the meantime, towards the west we go as they're on 5. Looking towards Cerberus. They know they have them, or not necessarily aware of the team in front of them, but know that there's a team up front of Athenbong looking for a rotation to wrap around that southern side. But with so much water still in play, you're really limited in how much you can really maneuver down towards the south.
I also do want to point out for everybody that's watching on the map right now, if it ain't broke, don't fix it strategy coming out from Sonics. They just went up and put their backs against the wall. They're waiting to see how these circles go. Pio, though, he's going to just jump out in the thick of this one, gets completely surrounded. He's going to get taken down.
Where's the Genji coming too? They're full speed sending it into this one. Master got 1. Will he get more of it? Yes, he will. Finds the second as EJ falls. And just like that, what was a somewhat questionable pull-up from Pio in a 1v3 situation could potentially work against him because Scabby is over the hillside, finds the 3rd. And just like that, now it's just DG left on his feet, finds 1. He's somehow able to fight back, but nope, not gonna happen. Scabby finds 1 more, and that's Genji down and out.
Here come the Expendables. They hear what's happening over here, seeing if maybe they can take an opportune moment, get some flushes in. They do at least have a beat on Master. They're going to pick that one up, and man, that's just, it's very far out of the circle again. It's just so everybody rotating next to each other and just seeing an opportunity.
Again, lack of knowledge on this map. Taiko has only been in play for, let's say, 10 games for some of these teams. They are very, very inexperienced in terms of what are the rotation timings, what is the right pathing to do. It's not your Wrangle and Miramar that you know inside out. These things are bound to happen on new maps.
Do that on Miramar or Aaron
Probably Pio would potentially feel, he was feeling it on that day and he'd go for it too. But even then, the fact that we're seeing so many teams collide mid-rotation rotation is a clear sign of these teams still lack experience on this map, and the perfect rotation path and timing has still yet to be found.
That was just a cluster of, yes, 3 teams. I do agree there. Is that just, this is the pathing that we've got to take. And the awkward standoff between Falcons, question mark, as well as Twisted Minds continuing, and nobody else really around it. I think that the rest of the lobby's kind of done with this fight. Even 17 and FaZe are like, nah, you guys just do you. We don't want to get involved in that.
Everyone's waiting for another couple of seconds for that next circle to pop before doing anything drastic. GamePT, in the meantime, flying their way on in as the new... Oh my lord. These circles just keep getting worse and worse. Song is center phase 2. That is not something I would have expected to see in a very long time in casting takeover matches. But here comes every team moving down south.
Look at that. Na'Vi, Tyloo, FaZe, all got their eyes set on the prize that is going to be Song. Now, then, are we going to see Sonics potentially moving to the south, or are they just going to keep their backs up against the wall? It's been working well for them so far. T5 also playing in that southern position. Got to be careful. Twisted Minds look like they want to go ahead and regroup, get Perfectix out of that awkward situation that's going on up to the north.
Yeah.
Danoa, though, they're leaning a bit more into that eastern line. Outside this, we also do want to point out that Force still has one of their members up, as well as the Expendables still need to come into the circle.
Also important to keep in mind that this next circle could still include water. Like, we're not done shifting out of water yet. This could get even more brutal than it already is. The Twisted Minds again continuing their wraparounds, but instantly punished as the flush does get taken away by a team from the other side.
I mean, the only winners here are going to be Twisted Mind. They don't have to move much into the circle. They've already kind of gate kept it out. They can kind of dictate what's going to be happening over here. Is the remnants of both squads fighting it out. Capitan seeing if maybe he can get some more kills out of it. Twisted Minds, Perfectix just on top of him. Question mark is going to get eliminated. Capitan at least out survives them, but we're not even at placement points yet.
And this is the thing for Twisted Minds. They like to play this style, but they usually don't have to do so before 1 or 2 phases later than where we currently are. So the fact that they get to say, oh, we just get to clear our edge in phase 2, that just gives them that much more space to maneuver, gives them that much more control on that northwest side. And they're going to be all kinds of happy with this. Most important now, though, even though Capitan is a big threat, they cannot take any casualties.
He can't even get in a vehicle to get away. I mean, he's getting headshot over here. He tried to, Capitan does hit one, but he's not going to get anything. He wanted to try to escape, but he was already so low on life, man.
Nice flick, though. Nice flick from Capitan to take down Spiro. Maybe make Spiro think twice about peeking on over like that any time again soon. But will fall down. That's 4 teams eliminated in what actually so far has been some pretty calm beginnings to Takeo. This one right here, just a whole other ball game.
Yeah, I mean, the circle, right? That's what we're looking at. People are just going, okay, I need to get whatever points I can because I'm probably not going to come into this one too comfortable. Songam only really has 2 teams, technically 3 if you count the suburbs with Danoa right now. Scappi has managed to find himself a pretty hidey hole position right up against. I mean, he's got his back up against that wall, and that's about the safest point that you can be playing from and kind of looking in. This is Songam right now.
Yep, exactly. Everyone's made their way on in. Only Twisted Minds needs to creep a bit further forward, but the edge of the compound is in play too. And now Scabby looking down towards his APAC brethren. I'm not sure if he's going to be going aggressive on this one or just allow the rotation on through. Now he's seen 2 vehicles. Had he only seen 1, maybe that's him going, sure, you know what, I can take 1, flush him, and maybe stay alive for a little while longer. But now that he spots 2, maybe even more so, he wants to reposition himself.
I mean, he's got a pretty decent plan to work around right here. High likelihood.
Yeah.
There's still going to be some of this wall that's still in play. I like just playing as passive as possible around. Get the information, find out who's going to be next to you, and then just counter move around it.
The main issue for him is, as new as this map is for most, he is set in what would be the direct next point for Expendables to go to scout further forward. They have the hillside. It's perfect vision for the entire city, for the entire southern side. He knows this is where they're going to go to scout next, unless if this next circle hard shifts towards the north. But you can see the vehicles already Expendables. They're going straight in his direction.
Looks like he's just going to have to figure it out. Do I just hunker down? Circle goes right in the song. No big surprise. Bump into him. Going to cross over. Shot's going to come out from Dutchus. Not going to be able to take him down. Instead, ships passing in the night and just trying to get away. Scabby has to be careful that this fight doesn't get too scrappy for him as it's just sending it into the hillside. Problem is, Na'Vi has now seen this. They hear what's going to be going on. Is he going to get away with this? And catching some airtime, it looks like he might if it can ever get his vehicle to right itself.
You know what? I mean, credit where credit's due. He got out of there. He got into the city. And if this circle shifts into the city, there might just be placement points up for grabs for Scabby. So a dicey move. move, but rewarded with at least a building in Songam for now.
Right. Find a bathroom, hide, old school PUBG tactics time, right? Find yourself a shotgun and just hope nobody goes near you.
Yeah, exactly. Songam slowly getting more and more occupied as the teams out on the ridges and edges of this circle are looking for options to move further forward. And also looking for tractors. 777 just found one. As now Expendables starting to creep on in towards the city too.
Trying to path into this one. They know that the solo pathed into here, so they know that it's pretty open. They didn't see him just instantly die, so good read on that one, using some information off of the kill feed to make sure that they can find a pathing into this one that's pretty safe. While all this is going on, I mean, it's kind of interesting to watch all of these teams just suffering, trying to find some way to get into the circle, and then meanwhile you got Sonics that are down there probably just like playing tic-tac-toe or something.
Curious to see now as well, I mean, if we look away from the city for a moment, how FaZe should this next circle shift west are planning on playing it. They lost Corexi very early on, and that is a big hill to try and maintain control of. If you're playing like a 360 control split, that is going to be very hard to do with just 3.
And I love the fact that we're now getting a chance to talk about this, right? We've got the Song and position area that is going to be a lot of fields around it. Kind of difficult to navigate. It does have a kind of a defensive line that's going to sit. Up to the north, you're kind of getting an idea of what we're looking into, where Tai Lu and that hillside that you were just talking about is going to start off at. FaZe have a lot of vision in this, and oddly, this is a pretty similar circle to what we saw towards the end of the last Miramar.
Sure is. Sure is. Sonic's trying to essentially replicate what they did in the previous 2 games of just letting the circle do the magic for them and then slowly creep on in on the edge. Twisted Minds were doing the same thing as now more and more teams are starting to maneuver.
I'm pretty sure that was a spectator bug, guys. It's fine. It's fine.
We'll call it that, and then for Expendables, at least they'll be, you know what, I don't think I'm going to go anywhere near those vehicles, at least for a little while longer.
They're just not settled yet. Here in a minute, they're just kind of rowdy in and of themselves.
That's what it is.
T5 also inside the circle. Cerberus playing this one a lot more quiet, and no surprise, they've got they have one of the strongest compounds you could potentially have if the circle goes this way. It's just so close to the edge.
And that's the thing, right? But also they know that they're not alone out there. They know they have players on the western side. They heard the fight with Twisted Minds early. They've heard Third on 5 and Sonic shoot towards one another. No reason for them to over-aggress, at least not for the next 10 seconds. Wait this one out, because Cerberus is as good as any team on this server at sweeping edges. Issue is Twisted Minds, who I would arguably say are equally good, are right next to them. Circle, dead center Song Am. We got cheated away from a Los Leones finish in the previous game, and Taco comes in, so no worries, guys, I got your back.
Have you ever gone to Impala and said, you know, there's too many buildings here. I want less Impala in my Impala. Well, that's what you're getting right now, is there's going to be a field to the east, a giant hillside to the west, and not really a ton of buildings to work with as far as an urban ending finish is going to go. FaZe doesn't even like their high ground position anymore. They're just going to send it down. There are a couple of crates that have already positioned into this. T5, no surprise, already passing into it. The problem is, if you mind, Game PT already has the lineup in, but cannot get the knocks that they wanted to. So now Nade's going to be coming out. Is it going to be enough to stop this push? If Third on 5 just coming in with full-on gusto, man.
TP heard the vehicles. They went to try and shoot them instead of just lobbing some pre-nades out the window. Not ready for this one whatsoever, and somehow, just like that, Third on 5 are allowed in with only 1 casualty taken. A bit of a mistake on the side of Game PT. Now let's see if Kapsang hit the janitor, and Hush can make something happen here, because they have to take this fight. They just cannot back off. Nice nade over the roof. Finds the first.
There's an awkward situation also brewing to the west of this, where Twisted Minds and Cerberus have bumped into each other inside their rotation and not comfortable. So both hopped outside their vehicles and are waiting to see how this is going to be going down. Cerberus getting the shots in onto Perfectus, using that hillside to navigate it quite efficiently, and it's going to be Twisted Minds who did exactly what you were talking about. They wanted to sweep down this hillside, and it was Cerberus right as soon as they were getting ready to go that spotted it.
Yeah, casualties on both sides already, so not a favorable situation for either of these two teams. As Spiro now starts wrapping down in this direction once more. Himas, shots fired, nothing connecting as fights start escalating on the western side of the city once more.
Sonic's also made a send in over next to the Expendables that you can see is not necessarily going the best. Cerberus, though, Hamas has to deal with Batulins that is so close, just trying to use this hillside. Nade is out. Batulin's going to toss it out. Hamas going to get the smoke down, and it is going to get some damage, but Hamas, we've seen him. He'll brave that angle 50% life. He does not care.
Really nice reaction play for him coming through and trying to stay alive there. Tycon as well. The duo out of Cerberus, the heavy hitters out of the APAC region, trying to get damage done. Sonic's fall, that's elsewhere on the map. As we can see on this eastern side of the city, Expendables able to stay alive and potentially able to get all 4 back on their feet should they be able to get one more up. But now Himas falls down to the hands of one, and on the other side, damage is done, and Flush is almost taken away. No, not going to happen. Matulin's able to confirm. Nate bounces a bit too far.
This Tai Lu now sweeping in. They want to pick up whatever's going to be going on. Twisted Minds do get the moral victory of taking down Cerberus, but what do you do about that Tai Lu line now?
Yeah.
Nade's going to be coming out. They don't want to spend too much time here because they don't want to lose that high ground position. So it looks like Tai Lu is just like, hey, you know what? We know where he's going. Let's just wait for him to come to us.
One thing is not losing high ground position. Another thing is if you get knocked in the blue, there's a pretty good chance you're going to go down. So why risk it for one extra point when they can just go into the circle, sit and wait this one out? Smart engage by Tai Lu, not over-aggressing. But again, as we said about Sonics earlier, playing it smart.
It's a good throw on that Molotov to force Gustav out of his defended position. He's going to get spotted. He's going to go down. Na'Vi starting to just become more and more kings of the song on positioning as the circle does continue to crest and push down into this position. I want to point out, Scappy's presently center of the circle.
He is very much in the middle, no doubt about it. The issue for me is, as much as it goes into the city, it is also swung east of it. And we have open fields out there with 17 Gaming just sat there saying, well, I mean, none of you guys took the compound early. Now we got it, and we are going to be doing all we can to make life miserable hell for anyone trying to wrap out east of this town.
Down up to the north, they're playing from that road. Hey, you know, it kind of worked for them before, fighting on a road, and as they're going to have to path down into the no man's land. 17, like you were talking about, with Little Ghost kind of in the forefront position there. This is... We have 17, and technically it's going to be Tai Lu that are kind of gatekeeping out Song if this does go, because, guys, we're only in Circle 5 right now. We got 26 alive at Circle 5. That is nuts.
Not something you see too often, but of course, quadruple southern shifts do make for a pretty difficult game of PUBG. Danoa, one of two teams that have to make a move here. Them and Tai Lu are the only two not inside the circle, but in the meantime, inside the city proper. Hush single-handedly trying to fend off against Theron on 5.
Oh, just too many different angles in that bit of a corner, though. So T5 continuing their just breach strategy, and hey, it's working for them right now. Sitting at 4 kills, they're picking up the kills that they need to get into position. The problem is the next set of opponents, that's going to be the Expendables, who are kind of, they're feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, curious to see if Expendables are going to try and claim more real estate. They have pretty much full control of the east side of the circle, or east side of the road in the city, but a little hesitant here. Flashes are being lopped on over, but don't get any immediate responses on them. So I think they're just going to try and wrap further north again, clear a couple of more buildings, get yourself some buffer space. They're hearing fights going on up here, and now they want to see if they can position themselves better for the circles to come.
I love the fact that Duck Juice is regrouping over here. He saw Tai Lu make his reposition to the south. And so with that, now we've got the northern corridor and what we're going to be looking at. 17 Gaming trying to venture out over here right as soon as Danoa is coming inside the circle. But there's no cover to be had for really either one of these teams, and led to a very peculiar firefight where you're just kind of using some dips, bouncing in between it. And I mean, knocks are coming out, and there's no easy reses, but there's also no easy flushes.
And this fight going on right now is part of the reason why Expendables opted to go up in this direction. They're starting to flex out into the open field to try and third-party all of this that are currently going on. Look to see Expendable names in the kill feed in just a moment as Millman peeks on over, finds Loki. More players to be found from behind, though, as Millman, once again, I mean, so much damage done on multiple teams here.
And Onyx coming in. It looks like he's trying to be the hero, see if maybe he can get an angle onto this one right now. The problem with it, Little Ghost has that high ground position in what is, sure, a pretty flat location, but just an extra 10 meters is massive in this style of situation. Jumping out, he's got to use just a bush, a tree for cover. Now just trying to hunker back down into it. He does get some damage out, does get a knock, but he is going to go down.
Nothing he can do there now. He just set up perfectly to try and keep them all out. You can see now 777 from Expendables with the flex out position, trying to go, oh, we want a piece of this too. Now we don't shoot us, we're shooting at the guys in between us.
Look, we can be friends. we'll stay on this side of the road. You take over that side of the road. As long as we just kind of meet in the middle at some point, life's going to be good. Na'Vi, though, they do have to be careful. They still have Batulins that's eyeing a line into this.
He's been creeping his way out from the blue for the last minute and a half, and here he is. And for Expendables as well, with this circle shifting further north, they're opting to fall further back down on that southern side, in which there was a control of before, because now Tai Lu is here. The threat of any teams coming up towards them on that northern side is no more. So now, on the southern side, Tai Lu is the next team for Expendables to really worry about.
And Tai Lu is just, you can't say they've been given anything in this one. They've been having to deal with a lot of these circle shifts, navigating it very, very well. They are playing down to the south, which is kind of the safer areas to be into, as Batulins has managed to make it into this safe zone. The problem is there's still another one in front of him. Fortunately, though, Na'Vi is very focused in what's going on with 17 Gaming, and Tyloo is still... Actually, Tyloo does know where he is, and they're taking pot shots at
It's
him.
as if everyone but Scabby has opted to play up and around the roadside. They want to make as much space for themselves as they can, with the exception here of 17 Gaming. Somehow still 4 alive, able to survive that entire Danawa onslaught. And not only do they survive, but they get level 3 gear with it too.
We also do want to point out right now that Tanvu has actually crossed the road.
Yeah.
The only squad that has members on opposite sides of this road is going to be the Expendables. And the reason that this is important, we've seen it so many times late game. That open, flat area of a road, you guys know, you've played through them. It just feels like the harshest thing in the world to try to cross a road late game. So having at least a foothold over there now could give them something to work with no matter which way the circle goes.
Also, in case it swings out towards the east, they're set up perfectly with Tanwu being able to feed in for a cross on teams coming up close towards their position. So smart to have a little bit of a lurker set across the road, a spy, so to speak, on the other side of the wall here.
This is just such a tense standoff. You can hear everybody just kind of leaned in, listening for footsteps, trying to feel it out. They're just kind of leaning in, just looking at doorways. This lets you know, okay, we have no idea how many people could potentially be on top of us. You can, until you hear the footsteps, until you hear the firefighting, but right now, with the fact that this is such an urban finish, it's all been the fighting on the outside. Everybody third-partying into the firefights inside the fields. So that's the only bit of information you really had to work with.
Not only is it a city ending, which of course allows for more teams to stay alive throughout the mid to late game, but we also saw so much chaos in the early to mid game, which means that that a lot of those teams would be eliminated already. Tanbu finding a few shots, finding a knock onto Little Ghost as well, and this is all damage that might not seem like much right now, but one extra knock is an extended bleed timer, and a helmet gone, as you can see instantly after Little Ghost gets rest, but down once more. All this damage being done towards 17 is going to make their rotation that much harder. Good thing for them is, at least for now, they don't have to go anywhere.
Just look at the firing lines that are set up. 17 Gaming, yes, you're talking about they are technically entrenched in position, don't have to move just quite yet, but Navi's line is really just set to catch them no matter which way it goes. The Expendables line, same freaking thing for them to have to deal with. Tyloo, coming in from the south, has been spotted out by Ayla. Going to take some shots into this one. Smoke's going to be revealing this, and I mean, that does also mean that a lot of utility is being used at this stage just to try to navigate some of these very, I guess, hectic angles.
Yeah. All of Tyloo embracing that this will most definitely be an urban ending, unless if we see the wildest eastern hard shift in phase 8, and even then it's going to end in and around the road. But I like the way they're approaching this. Go full together, don't take anything for granted, spread out, take control. What I'm worried about, though, is we haven't really seen use of any blue zone nades yet. Now, I know teams had to rotate early because we went far down south, but I would still imagine that some teams are sat with them waiting for that late game to come around.
I'm just getting nervous based off the way that Na'Vi has their line up. Everything's kind of cresting in and really compressing down to the south. Tyloo does manage to get themselves inside the zone, but they're going to have T5 so close. Tanvu's just going to be a bit ahead of that. Na'Vi is running a very split line. 4 different members in 4 different buildings, but they also have 2 solos that are right behind them.
All you need is one to apply pressure to force those teams around you to fight. They know there's still plenty of teams alive, most of whom are wounded already. So if you can just showing presence in one building, because at this point in the game, no one knows how many is sat in each respective building. No one has had any chance whatsoever to call that out except for Na'Vi. They've been sat in this split for quite a while now. They have full control. So might just sit around and force teams to fight one another so that whenever the fights come to you, it's a solo. It's a duo instead of a 4-man team sprinting straight into you.
Good day for shotgun fans out there, as it looks like we're seeing a couple of them be brought out. Scabby, you can see, has been just by his lonesome for a while now. Just everybody be quiet. Let me listen for footsteps. Let me see what's going on. The 2 solos out of all of Songam to kind of contend with are right next to each other. Probably, what, about a good solid 15 meters apart?
Sat there waiting for anything to happen. Scabby just on the other side now, I think, hearing the footsteps of Petulance as well. Petulance, of course, well aware that there's quite a bit on the line in this stage of the tournament. So even if you don't get kills here, just the more you stay alive, the more chaos unfolds without you, the better off you're going to be in the long run.
Time to make the play on it. Hatsuwant playing this one, gets the shots out, does get the knock onto 1. He is revealed. He's in the open, but he has some support from his teammates. Moving forward with the shotgun, trying to go for the blast into it. Can't quite connect. Finally does find 1, but now it's all going to be T5 coming apart. But the nade just rips him apart.
both teams taken out as the fall-off nade gets the last player from Theron 5 as well. Not cleansed by any means for Tai Lu or for Theron 5. There are a lot of shots missed. Of course, flashbangs not making things any easier whatsoever. But in the end, both those two teams, mutual destruction, take out each other.
This is great for TE. Now they can cross the road. They're going to shift into this position we saw just a moment ago. Na'Vi, everybody that's hanging out in the north is just like, what the hell just happened?
More space for everyone, and it's up to you to claim it. The issue is now with Na'Vi trying to maintain this split. Teams are getting so much closer to them. They do have Uber, I believe, even closer to Expendables than where they're seeing Millman right now. But no, it's Alia, sorry. But any knocked player on Na'Vi is pretty much guaranteed that no res is going to come through, because as you said earlier, Matrim, they are sat very, very split apart here.
Got to be careful with this, and they think that they have a pretty solid defense on it. Meanwhile, 17 Gaming looks like they're going to go ahead and hop in their vehicle, try to regroup behind the building before they make whatever shift that they need to. Keep in mind, they do have a recess on the opposite side of that road, but it's not good. And given the fact that they've been having to contend with the Expendables for so long, Expendables still do have a sight line into it. As you can see, yes, there is a ridge there, but it is not comfortable in the slightest for them.
Because the roof is available to Tanvu down the southern side, 17 can't get out, they can't play it. I'm curious to see how many smokes they've had, because you can see Little Ghost, 4 nades, sure, that's all great fun, but no smokes. Xiaobei just used his last. They need smokes for cover in order to get that cast into a position from where they can play. Xiaowu uses his second to last, but here comes the push around from the other side. Expendables know that 17 has to go down south, go down towards them, but 17 has to make a play now.
It's like in so much trouble right now. They're just trying to go for the sin down the hillside. It's already on fire. Maybe just try to use it for cover. It's going to be some shots that are all going to connect. The Little Ghost is going to go down. Vehicle is going to get exploded. There is the cover to be had, but there is also the Expendables. 777 doing what he does best, pushing aggressively.
Exactly. 777 alongside the rest of Expendables, flexing back across the road once more. We saw it in previous matches how good they are at just instantly reacting to the info being fed across. Just as 17 comes out of the compound, Expendables instantly there to meet them on the battlefield on the eastern side of the road. Xiaobei, Xiaowu still alive, but you have to imagine that's just going to be 4 seconds as they're now in vision as these smokes start to fade away.
Molotov Blue Zone nade's going to stop this push. Expendables don't want to go too far. They know the fact that they have Tanvu back behind them is keeping an eye on what's going to be going on. Scappy does manage to take out the 2-1s. There was an awkward solo 1v1 over there, but we can see that the remnants of 17 are trying to hold this one. Xiaowu just looking directly into that pathing, waiting for someone to come in. Delwyn has that ridge, but 777 stacked together. Luckily, no grenades going to be landing on the side.
777 alongside the rest of Expendables would have really wanted for this fight to be over a long time ago. One good nade here could be the downfall of 3 players, and they seemingly, at least for a moment, have forgotten about Na'Vi. One nade here could be the downfall of all of them, and Alia with 1 nade lopped on over takes out the entirety of Expendables.
And now it is just come apart. 17 Gaming just trying to hold whatever they can, see if maybe they can survive through, but there is nothing that can be done. Na'Vi with that wide split, controlling the game for so long, gonna walk away with the victory too.
Alia saw the commotion, they saw the smokes deployed, and they knew one good nade could be the downfall of an entire team. And just like